So welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to do screw threads. I'm going to show you the quickest way to do a few screw threads, a couple of different ways. You can model them from scratch using a helix and create the profile of the thread and then run it down the helix at the pitch of the thread. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can if you have some kind of custom thing that you want to do. I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to show you the easiest, quickest way to create a thread. So let's go ahead. We're going to start a new file. And as always, I should tell you that I'm in the latest version of FreeCAD at the moment, which is version 1.0. I'm going to create a part, I'm going to create a body, and then I'm going to create a sketch. What I'm going to do with that sketch is I'm going to pick the XZ plane in this case, and I'm going to just draw myself a profile that I can use to put a thread on. So I'm going to go from here to here to here to here. Close that. Now I'm just going to fix my shape here, so make sure everything's nice and square. And I'm just going to give it one dimension across here, which will be, I'm going to make this a 6mm thread, so I'm just going to create that as a 3. And then I'm just going to create a dimension here, just so we know what it is. I'll make it 45. And we'll say OK. Close that sketch. Now I'm just going to create a revolve. Now I could have easily just drawn a 45mm diameter circle and padded it, but I revolved it because you might want to do some interesting shapes there. So once you have the piece that you want to thread, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the fastners workbench. And we're basically going to add a die. And depending if you want to do isometric threads or if you want to do the ASME non-metric threads, you pick the die that works for you. So I'm going to pick this die. And you can see it's right there. And then it's an M6 by default, so that's going to work well on this rod that I've created. And it is 20 tall, so I can make it 28 maybe, just for grins and giggles. And then I can move it up and down if I want to. So I can say my position, I can move it up a little bit. Let's say we want it to go to the end of that piece there. So maybe up like that. And then I'm going to go back to my part design. Now, I want to show you this because sometimes people can get confused. If you pick the revolution and you pick, let's do a boolean to cut this away, and then you select this die, or you say add body and select the die. Notice it's not adding, and notice it says I can't do that. So we're not going to do it that way. What we're going to do is we're going to cancel that. We're going to select this die first, and then we're going to select boolean, and now you see it's added it right there. So as long as I use a cut, I can cut that thread away and then say OK. And now you're saying, well, that's not a thread, that just looks like something crazy. So let's go into the screw thread again. Let's go lower down here. And if you look here, it says the thread is false. We're going to switch that to the thread is true. And then we just give it a little second to bake because it's going to actually cut that away and it'll show us the thread. So that's the most simple way of creating a thread. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to put that thread anywhere, to position it anywhere, and put it on a shaft anywhere. So once that is done, we are going to go on and put a hole in the end of this. So that's what we're going to do next. There's my screw thread on there. Looks pretty cool. And then I'm just going to select this face, and I'm going to select hole. I'm not selecting pocket. I'm selecting hole. I'm going to click that. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a hole on that face. Of course, the hole defaults are too big, so it's actually cut it away, but we don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to say it's going to be an isometric regular profile. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell it that it's going to be an M3, because I'm going to put an M3 in the end of it. And so now I have a hole that's in the middle of the end of this. And I'm going to say it's threaded. My hole depth is 25 millimeters. I'm going to say model the thread and update the threaded view. And then we're going to give that a second. Threads are quite CPU intensive, so there's a lot of edges in a thread. So if you don't need to show them, don't show them. But you can see it's modeled in there. So that's the quickest way to get an external and an internal thread. You can, if you want to create the thread outside of this, we can create it with the tap. So the tap works the same way as the die, and it will remove the material inside so that we can get an internal and an external thread. Now, one tip I will give you is you want to leave some clearance. So if you make a 6mm thread and you make the rod 6mm and you make the hole 6mm, what's going to happen is when you print it out, if you're 3D printing these threads, they're going to bind up. It's better to make the hole a little bit bigger, or the rod a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller diameter, and that way the threads won't bind up. As long as the pitch is the same, it will screw together and it will work perfectly fine, but it will prevent you getting caught up with the one thing binding into the other, and then you have to try and screw it in, screw it out, screw it in, screw it out, and eventually it snaps off. It's not the greatest outcome. So again, bear that in mind. So that's the easy way to create threads. If you have any questions or if you'd like to see more, feel free to leave a comment below. But I thought I'd make these short enough that when you're doing a model, if you want to just quickly look, oh, I've forgotten how to do a thread, you can just quickly look at this video and that'll give you the insight. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, you can join us on Patreon, link below. And if you just want to join the YouTube channel, you get a very similar feed to the Patreon. You can do that. You can join us right here. So again, I appreciate it. I appreciate all your support, and I'll look forward to making the next video.